Hello, welcome to Network. My name is Phumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week our Twitter poll is asking you if you think Elon Musk can find that solution that's going to help him make money from Twitter. He's been chopping and changing what he wants to do with the platform. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Firstly, here's what's coming up in this episode. We give you tips on how to not fall prey to those that want to take your money this Black Friday. We have information on the SABC Plus platform. And in our conversation, we chat about International Fraud Awareness Week. Black Friday is coming up, and we do know that a lot of you are going to be looking for those deals that you can find online, but fraudsters will be there too. So we thought to give you some information that can arm you in how you can protect yourselves.
The holiday season has become synonymous with online shopping as consumers take to the web to find Christmas deals. But cybersecurity experts say this spike in online shopping marks an ideal hunting ground for cyber criminals.
So if we look at the industry today, and it's unfortunate, there's a large number of syndicates that have been formed across the globe. And unfortunately, a lot of these syndicates are being run as a business. So strangely enough, with these syndicates, there's collaboration between themselves, and they look at different aspects of what we call cybercrime. And cybercrime is typically where these organizations are looking to steal your personal information. They're looking to scam the ordinary citizen on the street. So depending on the scale of what we're looking at, they are operating in different shapes and forms.
Using this to their advantage, cybercriminals design phishing emails offering lucrative, irresistible deals, prompting people to click innocent-looking buttons. What follows, however, aren't bargain deals, but disasters.
Cybercrime does not only relate to financial loss, but even take advantage of unsuspecting consumer or individual or even organization without due authority or due approval by the rightful owner of either the information or be it financial information, personal information, or personal assets, if you may use that word.
With Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and New Year taking place so close to each other, Visa warns consumers to exercise extreme caution while shopping online during the festive season.
Now, for the end user, for the consumer on the who's making an initiation of transaction online and participating in Black Friday, the best approach is to ensure that first, use secure sites that are known. So if I know that I want to make a purchase, I will use this as an example on Amazon. I know the website on Amazon. I have downloaded Amazon on my app, on my device, which is secured. I will initiate transactions from my known secure platform and not walk into, for example, a cyber cafe to initiate transaction, because at that point in time, there are very many chances that you are not in control on the security around that device. So initiate online transaction using devices that the customer is comfortable, that has been secured.
I think during festive, most importantly, we're finding a consumer buying pattern. Most entities provide staff bonuses at this time of the year. So from both a formal and an informal economy point of view, there's a huge flow of cash that's going around. I mean, at this time of the year, we also find that parents are planning for their children's schooling in the following years. So, purchasing of goods. We're also in a festive mode where we buy gifts for family and friends. And this is an ideal opportunity, as I mentioned, with the online digital arena, where people know, okay, there are specials online specifically, and you'll see quite a number of stores will actually tell you that you can't get the same goods that they have online in store at the same price. So that opens up a huge opportunity for a lot of the scammers or the cybercrime organizations to what we call masquerade or pretend to be one of those online retailers, as an example.
3 years ago, Parliament passed the Cybercrime and Cybersecurity Bill. The bill aims to regulate the powers to investigate cybercrimes as well as impose obligations on electronic communications.
The Cybercrime Bill seeks to provide for a cybercrime and security or cybersecurity legal framework for South Africa, to the extent that the bill in Chapter 1 aims to criminalize unwanted conduct in cyberspace in line with international best practices.
The past decade has seen digital payment solutions expand from using a credit card online to tapping a mobile phone. While some are embracing these new options, many harbor lingering worries about security.
I have trust issues, so I'm afraid of being scammed. And with the online shopping, you'll find that people, they advertise something, and then when you buy it, it's not the same as it was like online.
I don't shop online because I don't trust it. Like, I'm scared of scammers. So I prefer going to mall and buy. That's all.
With this expansion of consumer options, hackers are becoming more sophisticated and aggressive.
We know that the threat actors have moved upstream. They don't make the most money by targeting individual person. They make the most money by targeting either the merchants or the merchant websites or the bank, the financial institutions for that matter. So from Visa side, we have worked with our partners who are the financial institutions and also provide a capability to the merchants to be able to secure the transactions that are coming from genuine card holders. So we are able to score a transaction and determine that the way reading the digital data using AI and machine learning, we are able to make a prediction that a transaction is likely genuine or highly likely to be fraud and require a stepped up authentication approach.
Experts say with the boom of the internet and the payment industry continuing to grow, we must all pay attention to emerging trends and regulations to stay safe and competitive.
Now, we do know that SABC content is the most popular in South Africa, with SABC 1 being the most watched TV channel. SABC News' YouTube page is the most popular news page from South Africa. Now, the SABC is launching SABC Plus. It's an online platform where you can stream some of your favorite content.
SABC Plus. That is the name of the newly launched video-on-demand platform by the South African Broadcasting Corporation. This means that SABC viewers will now be able to stream their favorite content online free of charge.
We're launching our very own OTT platform, and we call it SABC Plus. And I think the biggest issue about this is the content that we now have is not going to just reside on traditional audiovisual platforms, but it'll also migrate towards the digital platforms. And at the heart of this is to ensure that the SABC can compete favorably and be relevant in the market space. But very key also is the principle of universal access, because SABC content will now be everywhere and anywhere for anyone.
And some South Africans expressed their excitement about the platform on an in-house news show, The Full View.
I think it's a good initiative because really it's going to help us to catch up with the stories, old stories that we used to watch on those days before. I think it's a good thing, and I appreciate the initiative by SABC.
I'm excited about this app and I'm going to use it. It is very wonderful news. So thanks so much SABC for doing this app, for helping us to going somewhere around with our cell phone or laptops. We are going to use it.
The world has seen a rapid growth of over-the-top platforms over the years. Netflix, being one of the most popular ones, has committed millions of dollars for African content creation. SABC Plus also joins DSTV's Showmax in a contest for the African market. Inasmuch, according to William Bird from Media Monitoring Africa, the SABC's indigenous language content could set them apart from the rest if used wisely.
Netflix is unlikely to have, a range of diverse African language dramas. They're not going to have the kind of African language soap operas that you can find on the SABC. They aren't going to have, African-made children's programming because there's no money in that. But the SABC needs to make sure that they cater for that. The SABC needs to make sure that they're offering content that meets the needs and reflects the stories and identities of all people in South Africa. So there's very much a place for them in this, and I think that if used correctly, they can claim that space.
SABC content has been the most popular in the country, from SABC 1's Uzalo breaking viewership records in the Southern Hemisphere to the isiZulu and isiXhosa news being the most watched bulletins in the country. While this content has been dominant on the television, it's YouTube that benefited from its online, as the SABC didn't have a platform on its own. Media Monitoring Africa applauds the public broadcaster for the leap and says content in local languages will be the game changer for SABC+.
The SABC is left again to fend for itself in a market that is changing, that is fundamentally different to the 1999 Broadcasting Amendment Act, which is what it's expected to live under. So it's 23 years out of date. It's completely mad that we expect the SABC to deliver on its mandate and be a functional broadcaster without offering it any kind of appropriate mechanisms in which to operate. So within that, the fact that the SABC has got the streaming service up and running, I think is quite incredible. As far as I'm aware, it seems to be one of the few, if not the only one on the continent.
The SABC said that content creators and news producers can also submit their work for the SABC Plus platform. The public broadcaster has partnered with Telkom, who folded their Telkom One to make way for SABC Plus. They've also partnered with smart TV maker Hisense.
The post office has been going through some problems in the last couple of years, and one of those problems is how it can reinvent itself. But despite that, there was a showcase of stamps from all over the world, which gives us a bit of history of where some countries, including South Africa, have been. But we also asked how the post office can reinvent itself. These 13-year-olds have never seen a postal stamp until today.
Like, people use the stamps in the past. So like, the first time seeing it, like I've known people talking stamp, like don't stamp.
I didn't see a stamp before today, but at the exhibition I saw stamps.
That's because they're growing up in a digital era with methods of communication that don't involve sending and receiving letters.
Communicating. Mostly it's just like texting on social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.
There was a time people sent and received letters often. Stamps would be a common feature in that. But today, many, like these learners, have to come to an exhibition like this one to see a stamp. In this exhibition in Cape Town, one can see stamps that sometimes remind us of the history of South Africa and histories of other countries too. Businessman Andile Ngaba is a former Postmaster General, and as a collector of stamps, he's also exhibiting here.
The exhibition we have here is an illustration of the history of the country from colonial and apartheid era to democracy. Through using stamps, we weave that story basically by showing all the stamps of oppression and stamps of democracy. That's basically what the message is all about.
But in order for kids to not forget the importance of stamps, it needs to be preserved in methods that they are familiar with.
We are now taking these stamps that we have as a collection, converting them into becoming a digital asset, which is a digital asset that is mintable.
While the South African Post Office struggles to come to the 21st century, other countries are repurposing their post offices, and in places like Greece, robots have been added to sort out mail.
The purpose is not to replace human workers with robots, but rather to augment human workforces to make them more efficient.
While it's clear that stamps like these will largely no longer be used and will mostly be beautiful for exhibitions and collections of collectors, the Post Office needs to find new and possibly digital ways to survive as it continues to experience massive struggles. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about Fraud Awareness Week, which took place recently, and how you can protect yourself against fraudsters. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. A lot of us have increased our activity online, and this includes e-commerce as well. This happened because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But what's happened as a result of that is that fraudsters are also there too, and they're trying to get our money, get our details, or do something even more sinister than that. To chat to us about online fraud, especially as it's been Fraud Awareness Week in the last couple of days, is Adewale Adejumo from DG Boys. Thank you very much for being a part of our network, Adewale. Maybe you can start by explaining some of the biggest online fraud scams that people have been victim of.
Some of the biggest frauds that take place currently online are with online shopping. People buying things online and using their and paying via bank transfer. Also, you often get hacking of people's social media accounts and emails. And you also get something called advance fee, where someone comes to you and they say, listen, give me 500 Rand now, or like usually larger amounts, and then they promise you an advance payment back in the future of something bigger. Okay, and you also get cyber malware, cybersecurity scams, where people actually send you an email and you click on a link, and then you get a virus installed or a malware installed onto your computer. And the last one that I know is also quite big is with software companies, people calling you pretending to be a software company, and then they get access, basically taking over your computer, and then they can steal your information.
With all of that, how do we remain vigilant?
So, for example, with the online shopping scams that actually takes place, never do bank transfers. Okay, spend some time on a website that is new. Check the contact us page that this company actually has a contact us page on their website. And again, don't do bank transfers. Use a credit card. And then for the hacking of your social media, whether it's WhatsApp or your email, what you can do is you can always log into your social media account and you can check the activities that are currently taking place. And often this happens with your partner or your spouse, or maybe someone just hacked into your account somewhere. You can actually see which devices are currently logged into your social media accounts. And then with the advance fee, guys, come on. There's no free money, okay? Just don't fall for a scam when someone says, give us 500 Rand and we'll give you back 5,000 Rands in about like a month or 2 months. And then when it comes to the software company scams, no major software company will call you directly or would try to ask you to give them access with them contacting you. So it's always better to, one, stay vigilant and actually call the company directly.
You talk about putting in money in order to get money out, but some people might say, well, it's money they would have invested and they think they need to put money in order to get it out?
I don't think that ever works. That sounds to me like a scam. You don't need to put in money to take your money out. So that's definitely a scam.
The fraudsters who can get into the system of a whole organization, how does that happen? How do they do that?
Usually they send someone an email, that looks like, and this is how it usually starts. So they would first hack this person's email, which is why it's always good to check your email login activity, and then they sit and they watch your email activities over a period of time, and then after a certain period, what they then do is that they then create an email that looks exactly like an email from a legitimate organization. And then when they send that email to you, because you're already thinking, oh yeah, I deal with this company quite a lot. And then what you do is you click on this link, you enter whatever login details that they need, and voila. That's how they get into an entire organization's system through email.
Can we be completely secure from online fraud?
No, you can't. No, you can't. You just have to be very vigilant. Yeah, you cannot be completely secure. But if you take precautions, chances are you can avoid being scammed online, but you cannot be fully secure.
And can we be completely secure from online fraudsters?
So firstly, credit card is the most secure way for you to make a payment online because firstly, it is not your money, it's the bank's money. Okay, so the bank will do whatever they can to actually get the money back. Secondly, you can use your debit card and you can still work with your bank to get your money back if you can provide proof that you didn't use, for example, 3D Secure, or that the goods were not delivered to you, to your address. So credit card is still today the most secure way for you to actually make any payments online and to avoid scams.
All right, thank you very much, Adewale. That is Adewale Adejumo from DG Boys. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News network at sabc.co.za and email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
Combining the use of a robotic leg at home along with traditional physiotherapy can see a significant improvement in how fast a stroke patient regains their mobility, according to researchers in the south of England.
When an individual has a stroke, it's either caused by a clot or a bleed on the brain, and dependent upon where that happens, depends on what part of the body it affects. Some people have issues with their speech, for example, but over 3/4 of individuals who have a stroke end up with either an upper limb, so an arm, or a lower limb, a leg impairment afterwards.
Around 1.9 million nerve cells in the brain are lost every minute that a stroke is left untreated, which can result in slurred speech and paralysis. If left untreated, a stroke can result in permanent disability or death, according to the UK government website. And now in the USA. Amazon.com Inc. is planning to lay off around 10,000 employees in corporate and technology roles beginning last week, in what would amount to its biggest such reduction to date.
I think dark times in tech. We're seeing it at Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and others. The clock struck midnight on hypergrowth. And now you're seeing the cuts across the board. Amazon is no different. And this is really a rationalization of cost structure in slower growth times.
The news follows a wave of layoffs across the technology sector, which is wary of recession after years of rapid hiring. Just last week, Facebook parent Meta Platforms Inc. said it would cut more than 11,000 jobs, or 13% of its workforce, to rein in costs. Now in Qatar. How do you keep soccer players as well as thousands of fans cool and comfortable in the scorching Qatari desert? Answer: you develop a new technology that keeps a bubble of cool air inside the stadium. Qatar-based engineer Saudi Ghani, nicknamed Dr. Cool, was the mastermind behind the technology.
We printed the stadiums in a 3D printers, in a scale. In the university, we invested in a big wind tunnel, and we looked at the weather file for Doha for the last 30 years and how the wind, infiltration of wind will interact with the stadium, and where I wanted to put that cold air and form that bubble and keep it there.
While the temperature at the 2022 World Cup is expected to be up to 25 degrees Celsius, Ghani said the energy-efficient cooling system will make its open-air stadiums usable even in summer temperatures that soar well into the 40s.
South African, Canadian and American billionaire Elon Musk is figuring out or trying to figure out ways to make money from Twitter, a platform that he bought recently. We even saw an account of Jesus Christ being verified and getting a blue tick recently. The tick was taken away. After that, he's even said that he's proposing that people with those blue ticks pay for those blue ticks that they have. So this week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you think Elon Musk can figure out a way to make money or if it's all over for him. And that's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Use network at sabc.co.za and email from me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the team. Have a good one. Bye-bye.